conversations on the reviews as to the year 2017, and is now the turn of Kofi Osei-Ameyaw. He's Director General at the National Lotteries Authority. He sits down with Roland Walker, who is now holidaying.
Within the year 2017, a number of activities and decisions have been taken, all in a bid to improve the lottery sector. And we know that consistent improvement in legislation has also ensured the National Lottery Authority has become a mainstay in ensuring that not only revenue is maximized, but also the industry improves. We have the Director General of the National Lottery Authority here, and the Honorable Osei-Ameyaw is here. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Okay.
How are you, Roland?
I'm fine, sir.
Merry Christmas to you in advance.
Many happy returns too, sir.
Yeah, and a prosperous New Year if I don't see you after Christmas.
Thank you. We pray that we can make some money, because the last year things started shaping up, so we hope that at least we...
Well, you mean personal money or institutional or...
Both institutional and personal. I guess personal growth is also important.
Of course, especially when we believe in free market
and enterprise.
Enterprise, yeah.
Okay. And the last time we had a conversation, it was around making sure that we had an industry that had strengthening regulations, and that would also rid it of entities or players that will not inure to the objectives of our country and also the National Lottery Authority. In your succinct, perhaps, observation, if you want to summarize it, how would you say the year has been for the lottery industry?
Well, let me take this opportunity to say Merry Christmas in advance to your cherished or our cherished viewers. The year 2017 has been quite exciting. The year started with the swearing in of the Akufo-Addo presidency, 7th January, where all the reforms that we had indicated the year preceding 2017 that we would bring a number of reforms such as free SHS, revamp the national health insurance, tighten the fiscal policy of the country in terms of the financing, and bring in new laws, Zongos, health and sanitation, several things, including lottery.
Yeah, definitely.
I am privileged that along the way, the president decided that I should come and look at this quasi-financial institution, which I believe it's a very, very important part in the overall finance development or infrastructure, as well as employment and technology infrastructure of the country. In other words, lottery, I see it as working in three main areas. Now, you mentioned earlier that strengthening the laws, the legal framework of the lottery system, technology and finance. That has been the main objective, and that objective is to for us to develop it in a way that it would give us employment, massive employment generation, and also revenue mobilization for national development. Before I came in, last year, National Lottery Authority had paid into the consolidated fund 16 million
Ghana cedis.
Ghana cedis. From March to date, we going to pay in excess of 30 million cedis, a whopping 100% improvement.
What is accounting for this?
Well, there were a number of leakages and loopholes that we have now. We are sealing and blocking the floodgates. So that has given us the room to push more funds into the consolidated fund. We believe that next year, 2018, we are looking at increasing from 30 million, 35 million to about 300 million.
You can do that astronomical jump?
Yes. Of course. One, we have dealt with the issue of the banker-to-banker problem that has bedeviled the lottery system for so many years. Now we are regularizing, and the first of this month will be the cutoff point. We would have data on all those who were engaged in that banker-to-banker activity, and then we would then bring them on stream to the usual LMCs. The issue that was creating problems for banker-to-banker was the fact that the LMCs, lotto marketing companies, pay 7.5% of their commission of 20% to the government. In this current budget, we have withdrawn that. With effect from next year, they wouldn't pay. So all those who were moving away from working with the government or National Lottery Authority will now be able to come back because
you think that they are incentivized?
Of course, because to work and get 7.5% taken out of the commission you are getting, you end up with what, 12.5%. And so we are hoping that that would bring them back into selling for us, and they would rather not hide under the back of houses selling the banker-to-banker. Furthermore, those who were winning were also taking a withholding tax of about 5%, and they would rather go and win through banker-to-banker and not pay any tax. Those people we are hoping to come back. Plus, that banker-to-banker activity now, we are going to try and regularize them and get them on stream. So that would account for part of the revenue that we are seeking. And then we are modernizing the business by bringing in the e-kiosk with solar. And we are also diversifying by bringing in value-added services, including banking agency services, on the same equipment, the POS, point of sale terminals that they are using. So once that same machine that is can do many other transactions within. So we are making it a one-stop shop. And once we do that, we also deregulate and go into the rural areas. Every polling area we are hoping to place an e-kiosk. So hopefully that would generate revenue for us and employment for us.
In trying to do a recall, I remember that when your administration started doing all these reforms, whether regulatory or even institutional, there were a number of perhaps setbacks, especially being prominent in the media, and because we do the observation and the analysis, we've seen that. Was it because of a lack of clarity on the part of those who were in the informal sector or the private operators, or that perhaps they had just not bought into the idea, or totally they were just against it?
I mean, with any change phenomena, some people will be affected, some people will be apprehensive of change. Obviously, it's natural, we understand that. But with education and more information, I think they ought to understand that it is better to comply with the law than to disobey the law. So basically, that is what has accounted for some of those who have been unhappy because they have not understood the reforms that we're bringing, that the reforms really would inure to their benefit rather than the current activities that they are engaged in. And apart from that, there were others who are also in the industry. So opening it up would obviously affect their parochial interests and or personal interests. And of course, they would agitate and make all manner of preposterous allegations against the one that is in the limelight pushing for the reforms. I understand that. Some of the allegations and some of the accusations do hurt, but hey, you have to develop a thick hide to withstand some of these things and take it as a collateral hit and move on. But it gets to a point where some of these people who are making libelous or defamatory accusations and allegations to be also brought before the law. And we are looking into that. Those that we can bring before the court of law, we shall. Those that we think is born out of ignorance, we will treat it as such with the contempt that they deserve.
And we all do travel to the West many of the time, the more developed countries, and they bring the lottery industry to the doorstep of the people to make sure that they're also part of the success of the gaming industry. Is this something that overall your administration and the authority intends doing?
Yeah. Perhaps
having a certain duration also in sight as far as your objectives are concerned, whether in the short to medium term?
Yeah, that's the objective. I mean, to bring lottery to the doorsteps, bring it to the living rooms of people.
Yeah.
So we are actually looking at online, apart from the POS terminals that we are bringing closer to the homes of people. We are also diversifying into online, so you can have your mobile phone and you can be playing video games and be winning precisely. And when you win, you have the e-wallet. So your wallet, you win, it goes straight into.
That's the dream.
That is.
Or it's even closer than.
It is closer than a dream. We are implementing in 2018. You will see some of these reforms coming into reality. Yeah.
And you just mentioned, for every innovation or a phenomenon, there are always naysayers, doomsayers, and those who would always resist. But development has made sure technology is now at the doorstep of everybody. How would we make sure that the private players that you also want to bring in, or perhaps rope in, also tend to play some roles, or get a further understanding of what you want to do as an authority?
Well, education, and information. How we disseminate information to the people and educate them to be part of this new phenomenon is what we need to do. So our marketing must be spot on, branding of the products, media, advertising. These are the areas that we need to work hard on, so that those who may not understand or know about the new age that we are bringing in can be also roped in, so that at the end of the day, it is a win-win, not only for a few Ghanaians, but for all, because once we open it up and more people come in, the smaller amount of money that they all contribute, we can build the nation. Now with lottery, I mean, the winning formula is very important. I mean, you get 52% wins, means people are making money. And then if there's no wins, it comes back to the state. And so the state also uses that money for development. So it's a win-win. Nobody should think that once they lose by staking a lotto, they've lost. The money that they don't win goes to the government, and the government then uses that as a development for development projects. As long as these monies are utilized effectively and not dissipated for the good cause. I think we should all be happy with the path on which we are.
We're on a continent and in a country where the socio-cultural mindset sometimes tends to have some effect on certain industries, and lottery is, for example, one. Religiously, there's a misconception, some stigma, some prejudice. How do we hope to perhaps losing all the tight ends on that?
You know, it beats my imagination with this perception that you are talking about. I mean, even in exams, when you are going to write exams, you go through a whole lot of syllabus, you go through a whole lot of topics, but you try to pick some that you think would come in the exams, and you work on them. If they come, you are laughing. If they don't come, you have issues. It's the same lottery. In the Bible, Jesus also did some lottery. Lots is in the Bible. So basically, people should not think that lottery is bad. We do that, everything we do, competition. Some would win, some would lose. It's about life. So if this is a game of chance, you have 90 balls, you pick 5. If you are lucky and the 5 comes, you make some money. If you are not, you lose the money. I think we have to look at it from that positive point of view than the negative. The only part that we would advise people not to overindulge is when you take all your resources and dump, and then you lose and you don't gain, or you don't win, and it becomes a problem not only for you, the staker, but the family, the younger ones who had no control of that game that you were.
So there's always a caution there.
Of course, and in life, everything it has to be done in moderation. You cannot be overzealous and do things out of proportion. I think too much of everything is bad. Even if you eat too much food, it has its consequence. So I believe that stigma and perception that lottery is not good should be discarded. And I think with the new system that we are bringing in, where you have a one-stop shop, you go to the e-kiosk, you shouldn't be embarrassed even if you are staking lottery, because you can pay your electricity bill, you can pay your water bill, you can do your banking transaction very soon.
Those solar.
Very, very, very soon. Very soon.
Okay, but how do we tighten the loose ends then in the medium to long term to make sure that there's sanity in the industry, and then also the regulations that we have started introducing or amending, for which would ultimately reach the goal that we want it to be, will be beneficial to not only the private players but also to the state?
Well, I mean, we have some reforms,
yes,
in terms of law reforms that we are preparing for the Ministry of Finance to take before Cabinet and then to Parliament. And once Parliament decides that it should go through, that will come within that. I think the various regulatory measures will be put in place, and we should be able to then make sure that all sites are protected, the private sector, the stakeholders or the stakers, their side. We are going to make sure that whatever we bring out would inure to the benefit of Ghanaians. And at the end of the day, it's in to assist or to help Ghana more so than individuals whose agenda is so narrow and tunnel visioned than the state at large. Because at the end of the day, we look at the interests of the public, the state first, before the private. That, having said that, it doesn't mean the private individual right is not to be protected. We do it in a balance so that at least we work things in a co-equal manner rather than in an unbalanced way.
So you set usually financial targets, and the next year,
precisely,
you're hoping that
we are hoping that we'll hit the hundreds of millions, and we'll move from the the 30s. I mean, the 2016 for me was abysmal. 2017, having come in midstream and moved to 35 million, with the reforms that are coming in, we should be able to be opening up and then bringing in more. I believe that the fortunes of Ghana can be turned, and lottery, this is one of such areas where we can do that. And also those who are rural urban migration, we believe that lottery should be able to help stem the tide of rural urban migration once we move the employment to the people rather than them coming. So in that respect, we are setting up about 1 to 2,000 employment in all the districts, to have our offices visible in the districts, which districts would now be able to work with the electoral areas and the polling areas under them. So with that, we will generate more employment, generate revenue, and use the revenue that we have generated, or the resources, to help develop the country, the country and the people of Ghana. So,
I'm always happy when I watch Channel 4, the BBC, or CBS, or even Fox, and I see all these lottery winners in America and the UK. I said, wow, when were we going to have? And some of them just said, they were just watching TV. They collected their ticket.
Precisely, the Powerball, where you get millions, and it keeps on rolling over.
It's always exciting.
Oh, it's exciting. It's exciting. Can you imagine? You're playing. Of course, you're playing on your phone, and then you stake, and then they say roll, and you've won.
Because if I can stake, especially for those who go to church and don't want to be seen to be those who stake lotto, if we can stake with your spouse not knowing, it's better.
Yes.
When you tell her, she'll be fine.
Of course. It is only when you lose that it becomes a problem.
So when you win, you don't tell.
Okay.
You don't tell.
Yes.
Today, there was some lottery I entered of 50 Ghana. I never won. You don't say that one. But when you win, you tell.
Of course.
Well,
I mean, losing is not always palatable to say, but winning has always been. Winners are greeners. That's the saying. Losers are always not.
Nobody remembers the hero.
Exactly.
The villain.
No, exactly. They remember the hero
all the time. Well, it's been a great conversation, and we know that we just did a recap of all that from the time you came into office, and we hope that the next year will be better for the National Lottery Authority.
Yes.
And we wish you all the best, sir.
And all the bad publicity and all the negative publicity that people have been throwing about, I'm calling on people who believe that the reforms that we are taking are affecting their businesses or their private businesses and their pockets. They should understand that Ghana first, we have a vision, we have an objective, and that vision is to develop the place so that at the end of the day, Ghana wins. We would do our best to make sure that the casualty is not so great that many people will be afflicted by the reforms. That notwithstanding, we are focused and we are determined to deliver for country. So I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. May 2018 be a year where we can all smile that Ghana, we are moving forward.
Well, thank you very much. We also believe that your reputation is holding all this together, and we wish you all the best in your endeavor.
Thank you, Roland.
All right, thank you very much.
God bless.
And so we've been speaking to the Director General of the National Lottery Authority, and Kofi Osei-Ameyaw has been our guest. We know that you continue with your celebrations within the Yuletide, but make sure that you look out for all those numbers of the NLA and be a good patron and a good client.